I want to go back to that breaking news right now. CHP following that silver sedan in Canyon Country.
Yeah, Rudabeh, Sheba. So we were able to find it, that silver car that you saw there now fleeing from CHP. They've been in pursuit of this car for about the last 35-40 minutes. Started way up north of Lancaster Palmdale on the 138. It was heading west almost to the 5. That would have taken it to Gorman and Fraser Park, but the driver here turned around and headed to the 14 and came south. The original want on this was that CHP tried to pull over this driver for speeding. Now, the lead officer in this pursuit says that that car did pull over initially, and just as that CHP officer was getting out of his vehicle, the driver took off, and that is how this pursuit started. They've been chasing this car all the way down through the 14. Now we are approaching the 514 split in the Newhall Pass. Now, at points, this car has been driving on the wrong side of the road. It was on the wrong side of the road up on the 138 north of Lancaster Palmdale. Now you can see it's all the way on the left-hand side there. That might actually be the center divider. That's actually left of the diamond lane. And at points, CHP has said that things have been thrown from this vehicle, both from the driver's side and the passenger side. Now, we don't know how many people are in this car, but if they see the passenger side window rolling down and things going out the side, that may indicate that there is at least a passenger sitting in that seat throwing things out. Now, we don't know what kind of things they were throwing. If it was, CHP didn't describe it because of the high speeds of this pursuit. I think the lead officer just said, I see objects coming out of this car. So they have CHP officers going back onto the 14 looking for whatever was tossed from this car. But you can see very high speeds approaching 89, 90 miles an hour. That's about how fast this driver has been going for the last half an hour, using all of the lanes. And this is going to be a real problem as they continue south on the 5. They're going to hit rush hour traffic through the San Fernando Valley, which is going to make it very dicey for everybody involved here in this pursuit. Now, CHP right behind them, mostly with ground units, because the CHP air unit that I saw was actually coming from a far distant part of the Antelope Valley. They may not be overhead yet, so this is totally being tracked by units on the ground, but they are asking for allied law enforcement agencies like the LAPD or the LA County Sheriffs to bring their helicopter in to chase this driver. They want to have eyes on it from overhead. There are multiple media airships like KCAL overhead as well. But you can see how dangerous this pursuit is as it continues southbound. We are right at the 514 split here in the Newhall Pass. And Sheba, Rudabeh, this driver is showing no signs of wanting to stop.
Yeah, this driver has covered a lot of ground already, Mark, as we see, more and more traffic, a lot of close calls right next to other vehicles, almost seeming like that one. That was pretty close. Almost seeming distracted, like he might be exiting, might be staying on the freeway, not really having a sense of direction almost.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, a lot of times we have seen in pursuits before that drivers like to return to places they're familiar with, but we have no idea where this driver's home territory is. This pursuit started on the 138. That is at least a good 30, 40, maybe 50 miles from where he is now, he or she, this driver. As they continue to head south, now they are going to start entering the Sylmar area. Now, I can tell you that there is a CHP airship overhead. There was one that came, I can see on the radar, that was heading to the location. They had come all the way from the Victorville area, but turned around when a closer CHP helicopter that was coming up from downtown LA caught this one. So now there are aerial eyes on this driver, which makes it very hard for this driver to escape. The CHP is very tenacious when it comes to drivers on the freeway. They do not give up pursuits very easily. And this driver, though, knows he is being chased. He or she is being chased because you can see this erratic movement going all the way to the right shoulder. And at times, just a few minutes ago, they were all the way at the center divider. Now, we haven't had any reports of any collisions or anything like that, or even any near misses. But I'll tell you, at this point, with these high speeds and the traffic increasing on the southbound 5, we are now in the Sylmar area. It's going to get even more dangerous for this driver if they continue these high speeds driving on the shoulder like this.
Yeah, and you have to put yourself in the mindset of the law enforcement officers who are following this suspect, seeing things coming out of the car. It looks like the windows are tinted there. These high speeds, taking into account other drivers. Oh, wow. Taking into account other drivers on the road there. It looks like
they've gotten off the freeway, it seems, for a second.
The freeway, and cars stopped there. I mean, it's looked like a few near misses to me, at least.
Yeah, it's been close. And you can see this driver has the propensity how fast they came off that off-ramp. and just made a really hard left turn.
Okay, it looks like we can see someone in the back of the car, Mark, with that window down.
Yeah, there's definitely someone in the rear passenger. I had to look up close to my monitor here. They rolled down the window. There was someone wearing sunglasses in the rear passenger seat. Now, CHP has authorized some of their units that are in this pursuit to deploy spike strips if there is an opportunity, but right now I don't know if there's going to be one. This driver is driving very erratically. They weren't going to use spike strips on the freeway, but certainly on surface streets, if they can get ahead of this driver, if this driver wants to stay in the Sylmar area, they may try and deploy that. But right now we are in a residential part of Sylmar. This is near, say, like Bradley and Bledsoe Street. You can see this driver just hitting speed bumps, divots. There's at least 2 people, possibly 3 in this car, and very reckless driving. It's a little bit lighter traffic, obviously, though, in this neighborhood, but now we are seeing
they're getting out of the car.
A foot bail, yeah, driver, 3 people out and running. Now, there should be CHP units not too far away from this. We did see them there, and it looks like they're under some trees. But the air unit, the CHP air unit, is in the area. They're going to keep eyes on this, on these people running.
And of course, the people in that area advised to stay inside, not to come out, not to try to get pictures or video, lock the doors. This can be a really unpredictable situation. This could be where they live. This could also be a random neighborhood.
Right.
And they've been acting so erratically and unpredictably and dangerously. And you have to wonder what they've been throwing out of the car windows there as well. You can see one person running here. It looks like, Mark, did they go in opposite directions?
They did. I don't know. I'm guessing that probably is a suspect, being as how far they are running. The air unit is trying to guide units in here, keep eyes on everybody. So it's unclear. I'll have to go back and rewind the video to see if this was the driver or not. I believe it was. I think the driver did have a light colored sweatshirt on, but they may have all had light colored sweatshirts on. I'm not sure. But this person clearly now running through properties. This has definitely got to be someone from that car now running into the back of this home here. This is, as I said, in the Sylmar area near El Cajon and El Dorado Avenue. Jumping fences. This is probably such a shock for people living in this neighborhood. They're getting ready for their work day or whatever, people having breakfast, and there's a suspect running through your backyard. It's got to be sort of probably a terrifying experience. But CHP officers trying to get into position to get behind some of these yards and take this person into custody, and there are still 2 more out there as well. They ran in another direction.
Yeah, you're looking at some of the yards here with dogs. It looks like the next yard over that he was going to jump into, so you wonder if he's noticed the dogs. There is one behind this tree that just ran out. We just rewatched the video of them getting out of the car, though. That was one of the passengers, not the driver, that we're focused on in this shot, but it seems he was going to jump over into this yard, which has several dogs.
Yeah, these are large dogs.
Yeah.
This is probably not a yard he wants to go into. They don't look that aggressive. But you never know. A lot of times we see suspects try to hide under trees, but I'll tell you, the camera and the technology on the CHP helicopter is very good. They're also orbiting at a much lower altitude. They're able to see suspects that are under eaves, under trees. There's no way that you can hide from the eyes from the CHP helicopter. And this, it looks like this person has not escaped from this tree. And he's also, well, he's got these dogs barking at him as well.
Dogs
they definitely know.
The dogs are probably going to give it away, but also challenging for law enforcement when you have 3 suspects and they're running in separate directions.
Right.
And you have to kind of triage your resources and figure out who to keep eyes on, who to go after, how to protect the people who live in that neighborhood, how to protect people who might be driving or walking around, who have no idea what's happening, like this person with the umbrella probably. And you have to wonder, you know, what they know already in terms of if they've been able to track the plates of the car, if the car belongs to one of the suspects, or if it was stolen. There are so many questions still unanswered, including whether they are armed.
Yeah, and because police initially just pulled them over for speeding, they still may not have any idea who it is that they're after, the one that has gone near this tree area, just because of the way the dogs are responding. It seems that he thinks he's hiding there, or he's gotten stuck and decided to stay in this one position, Mark.
Yeah, that's true. And I will tell you, the CHP officer that did initiate this pursuit said he never got a look at anyone in the car. He said that the driver never got out, and the CHP officer had just stepped out of his patrol car to begin that traffic stop process when that silver sedan took off. So there really is no good eyewitness look at this driver, but that's not going to stop the CHP from trying to find everyone that ran from that car. They will definitely try and take everybody into custody, and then, there's certainly other evidentiary ways that they can make sure that they have everybody that was in that car. You can see there's multiple CHP officers down there, and the air unit, I can hear them guiding them in. They're saying the last time they saw that suspect that we had eyes on was under that tree. So CHP wants to take this methodically, make sure that they don't miss anything here. But I think that they very soon will be trying to get into this property to try and take that driver that passenger into custody.
If you're just joining us, we just watched the end of a pursuit, a silver vehicle all the way up in northwest Lancaster on the 138. Was CHP officer tried to pull the car over for speeding, and then the driver took off. There were 2 other people as well in the vehicle. All 3 of them ended up in this residential neighborhood in Sylmar and then jumped out of the car and went in separate directions. So now the search is on to try to track down and find and arrest these 3 people in this residential neighborhood while still keeping people in the neighborhood safe and keeping officers safe. Along the way, they covered a lot of ground, driving very erratically, very dangerously, swerving around other cars at points on the shoulder of the road and the median. They then exited the freeway, and that is where we are now as choppers from both the media and law enforcement tried to find these 3 men who jumped out of the car, or 3 males, I guess I should say. And they were also throwing objects out of the car, both from the driver's side and the passenger side, as this pursuit was happening.
Yeah, this tree we're focused on now is where one of the suspects we were able to last see hide under one of the trees and then seem to get stuck as the yard right next door where it seemed he was going to jump into. He had already climbed one fence, had several dogs there. So as you can see here, several authorities, law enforcement vehicles are lined up outside of that house. We assume that they are being guided in their yard with the dogs to check and see if that suspect is still hiding under that tree.
Yeah, and they seem to be taking kind of a cautious approach there and are slow going, like maybe talking to someone, the homeowner in the yard. You see a dog there under the tree as well. So it looks like they've zeroed in at least on this area, but those other 2, I'm not sure where they went, Mark.
Yeah, so while you have been talking, I've been going back and listening to the traffic from the air unit. The air unit really did just keep eyes on this one suspect. They're vectoring in. You can see law enforcement right into where that backyard of that home is. They said it doesn't appear that suspect ran any further than under that tree. As for the other 2 that went running, have not yet heard anything about taking them into custody yet, but I also haven't heard any radio traffic that they're looking for them either. So it could be that there may be officers on the ground that have already taken them into custody, and they just haven't radioed that yet, that they maybe just be doing it verbally on the ground. But certainly this suspect that is in the backyard is the target right now for those officers on the ground. They're going to be trying to enter that property here shortly, and we'll keep CHP overhead and keep watching.